share now. Thank you, Ravi.
We're back.
Wait, yeah. We'll stand there. Need not. I think she wants to
Okay, good. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Question: what is the role of the brain? Where is Atma when the patient is in a coma? Yeah. Where is Atma? That question is irrelevant question, in as much as the meaning of the word Atma is, which is all pervading everything. We'll be seeing tomorrow also. So-called good, bad, everything it pervades. Every emotion it pervades, every cell it pervades, every nucleus it pervades. Whatever exists in the creation has a borrowed existence from the Atma. What lends existence and what borrows existence cannot be away from each other. Therefore, the entire creation is pervaded by Atma. So, where is Atma? That is that question. Yes, but the thing is, role of a brain. Very good question. There is a physical body and subtle body. We generally say it is Karya Karana Sanghata. You must have heard of this. Sanghata, which is an assembly. Assembly means several parts put together. Physical body, is Sthula Sharira, is also called Karyam. And Sukshma Sharira is called Karanam. It's a set of instruments actually, subtle body. Subtle body is really not a body as such. Generally we remember like this gross body, 5 feet 8 inches or whatever. Same as subtle body also we feel there is some kind of a body. No, it's an aggregate actually. Aggregate of 17 components. And all the components are made up of subtle elements. That's called subtle body. That aggregate enters into the gross body along with the consciousness, which we call Jivatma. Jiva is nothing but the consciousness endowed with the subtle body. That's it. That enters. That aggregate enters. Along with the consciousness, when I say, then you say, Swamiji, see, now you are saying consciousness which was not there inside now enters. No. The subtle body along with the consciousness means subtle body is conscious. Like conscious mind I was saying, conscious senses. So we say reflection of the consciousness. Don't think of too much in reflection, but it is to think that way because the whole aggregate, the pranas, the physiological body, the pranas, the subtle body means the organs of action, organs of sense organs, and the mind all become conscious in presence of this all-pervading consciousness. That enters. That's a jiva. And when it enters, these 17 components go to their respective golakas, we say, to the respective places. And going there, it starts functioning. So the brain is a part of the gross body, in which the mind, which is a one component of the subtle body, resides and starts functioning. The activity of the brain. That is how science says it is activity of the brain. We say no, there is a subtle body which is independent of the gross body. So basically the gross body is not functioning. The subtle body functions. There are various instruments. They are settled in these respective golakas, respective houses, respective offices, and they function. Like the sense organ, eyes, indriya, enters into this golaka and function like that. So the mind also residing in a brain functions. And where is Atma? So that when the patient is in a coma. Good. So basically Atma, which consciousness, which is reflected in the mind, subtle body. Well, then the mind becomes conscious. And mind becomes conscious, automatically the other parts of the subtle body also become conscious. That subtle body, we'll see tomorrow, that subtle body is conscious, subtle body pervades the entire gross body. Even one particular sense organ called sense of touch is pervading the entire gross body. So subtle body is conscious, therefore the gross body also becomes conscious. That's how it is. So consciousness along with the subtle body and gross body, we call it as an individual conscious being. That's it. Now, especially when patient in a coma due to accident or something, some brain injury, suppose, naturally, brain injury is there, the person becomes unconscious. So when brain is injured, the subtle body, nothing happens to subtle body. We should understand this. Nothing happens to subtle body. Mind, nothing happens. But mind is not able to function because the office is damaged. That's how it is. Office is damaged. And therefore, the person becomes unconscious. We feel he becomes unconscious as though consciousness has gone away from that. So, it's not the question. Only the consciousness, the Atma, all-pervading Atma, is not able to manifest in that mind. Because the mind is not functioning, is not able to manifest, and therefore we say the person is unconscious. That's all it is. Nothing more than that. Like a mirror is damaged. So even if you are very much there, but your reflection will not be there. Or reflection is damaged, you can say. You are very much there. Same way Atma is there, but the mirror like this mind, where the consciousness reflects, that is not able to function. It is damaged. Why? Because the brain is damaged. The gross body is damaged. It is, the gross body and subtle body to remain together, well, there are certain conditions. Like, person gets married, then they are together because of certain conditions. Both have to fulfill. Exactly like that. So, gross body also has to fulfill certain condition in order to keep the subtle body along with it. And subtle body also has to fulfill certain conditions in order to function remaining in the gross body. Like certain part of the body is injured, certain very vital parts are injured more than certain percentage. Like kidney, let us say. Kidney is injured due to some malfunction, whatever. Then, well, definitely the whole subtle body lives. The person dies. Same way, heart also. Heart is damaged more than certain percentage due to any cardiac arrest or anything. Then the whole subtle body says tata to gross body, lives. The jiva lives. So gross body, on part of the gross body also there are certain conditions. This much, the vital parts have to be functioning in certain percentage. Then only it will, the subtle body can remain and function. Otherwise it will leave. And subtle body also has a certain role to play. Like certain indriyas are, suppose all the 5 sense organs are not there. Suppose all the 5 sense organs are not there. I have not seen anybody who is blind and who is deaf and who is this and all 5. Well, he cannot remain, that jiva cannot remain in the gross body. He will definitely leave. So on the part of subtle body or in the part of the gross body, there are certain conditions to be fulfilled to remain together as a living person. That is very important. So anyway, I hope I answered this question. Okay. Now these are the questions I think which we should ask to Swamiji, but it is asked to me, thinking that perhaps Swamiji is coming. But I hope if you ask to Swamiji, it would be better, because Swamiji is discussing that topic right now, conquering inner enemies. And these questions are, I feel that these are the questions pertaining to that topic. But apart from it, if you have any questions which in morning I have talked from there, well, I invite questions. Yes. You can keep a microphone, because it may be, I think, a live streaming or something. Microphone. Sadev is there? Okay, please ask.
I'll try to ask loudly.
Yeah.
Your karma, does it go with subtle body or Karan Sharira?
Yeah, see, it is the subtle body itself emerges from the Karana Sharira, causal body. So, causal body has that Sanchita, bundle of all the karmas of all the past lives. From that storage, a part of the karmas, I have started fructifying, giving rise to subtle body and then gross body also. And when subtle body enters into that, well, we call it as a Janma. And then whole life is exhausting those karmas, we call prarabdha. So gaining the subtle body, gross body also due to prarabdha, and then rest of the life, you have a various situations of pleasure, pain, etc., or even indifferent, is ultimately due to karma. And so karmas basically, the storage is the Karana Sharira.
So Karan Sharira has much more karma stored than subtle body. You only get small portion of that in the subtle body in a jiva.
No, it comes from a Karana Sharira.
The whole of it?
No, not whole of it, part of it, prarabdha. And that prarabdha fructifies throughout the life, through a particular type of bodies, both the bodies. It comes ultimately from Karana Sharira, we call Sanchita. It has a storage of karmas as well as storage of vasanas, various impressions, born of various experiences in various janmas. Yeah, all this is stored there.
So while we are... Hello?
Okay. Yes. So when a jiva is alive, Karan Sharira is somewhere having karma, additional karma, waiting for next lives.
No, Karana Sharira is right there. Okay. See, Karya can never be away from Karanam. Right? Any fact is always non-separate from the cause. So the causal body is here, but one cannot experience the causal body because the causal body is unmanifest. Anything which is unmanifest is not available for experience. Right? Could you follow that what I'm
Yes.
saying? Anything which is unmanifest, you cannot experience. Like even in an egg, there is a bird. But if you break the egg and you see there is a liquid only, you don't see any parts of various limbs of the bird body. So unmanifest means is not available for experience. So otherwise people will say, well, if Karana Sharira is right here, why am I not able to experience Karana Sharira? You will not be able to experience. What is manifest you can experience. That's how you experience your senses. Sukshma Sharira, you experience your mind, you experience every other thing. You experience your pranas also. All physiological functions you experience. But that is because it is manifest. And gross body also is a manifest. So you experience. But the Karana Sharira which is unmanifest is not available for experience.
So when person dies, subtle body also goes to the next life with Karan Sharira?
With the Karana Sharira, absolutely.
Okay.
And that subtle body, once it leaves this body, see what happens is the lifespan of a gross body and lifespan of a subtle body are different. Gross body dies at 100, 200 years max. Maybe even the tortoise may have a little longer life. So the gross bodies die several times and born several times in a given cycle of creation. But the subtle body which is created at the beginning of the creation from the causal body, will remain throughout the whole cycle of creation. But that subtle body also undergoes a change because it is dependent upon karma. So the subtle body which is here right now in the human body, suppose it lives and has to enter into a donkey's body, let us say, then it will undergo accordingly a change. Otherwise, like that, it will also start giving lectures, the donkey also. Right? Because it will be able to speak. And all subtle body goes means this knowledge also goes. And so it will start having a classes and everything. But it doesn't happen. So the subtle body also, undergoes a change. Like gross body. You get a new gross body, new subtle body. New body means according to the, in keeping with, let us say, in keeping with the gross body. So that is how in a Tattva Bodha, the definition of subtle body and gross body where it is given, you will find one word which is common in both the definitions, and that is Satkarma Janyam. For the human body, human gross body is born of Satkarma, good karmas. Gross body is born of good karmas, and even subtle bodies of the human being also born of Satkarmas. Could you follow? Yeah. And therefore, once it goes to the donkey's body, means it undergoes a change. So all this is, but who decides? That causal body which is there all along. Yeah. The karmas accordingly manifest and gives rise to a subtle body, a different subtle body. Because ultimately subtle body is aggregate, right? Aggregate. But as it enters into the gross body, it undergoes a change in keeping with that particular gross body. That happens.
So, one more, last question. So, prarabdhas are part, they go through current sharira from one body to the other, or to subtle, like your tendencies. Say your tendencies, you have prarabdha from the past lives.
Yeah.
How does that work versus karma?
Tendency versus karma?
Yes.
There is a very nice statement in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad where it is said any janma is in keeping with not just karmas. It is also in keeping with one's own tendencies, vasanas. So both decide. In keeping with your karmas and vasana, one gains a gross body and the subtle body in order to exhaust the karmas as well as in order to exhaust your vasanas. So Bhagavan gives, but now which lot comes and that we are not able to decide naturally. But they are there. The storage is a Karana Sharira. The storage is a Karana Sharira, in which all your karmas and all your vasanas, impressions, tendencies are there. Now, which lot of the karmas and which lot of the vasanas come, etc., that is very difficult to decide. But it is, any birth is influenced by these two, that's for sure.
So the two are independent of each other?
Not independent, but they are connected at least to give rise to a. So in keeping with your exhaustion of karma, the tendency also will arise from in your mind. Yeah. Why you have a certain, you like certain things, right? I like certain things. When you enjoy that thing, means you are exhausting your punya. And when I take that thing, I exhaust my papa also, maybe possible. Like a particular vegetable, bitter gourd. Hey, you may like. So when a bitter gourd is served, well, you say, Swamiji, it is my punya that I am getting this. And I say, it is my papa that I am getting this. Could you follow? So the tendencies are also there in exhaustion of karma. Karma is there, your tendencies are also there. They go in tandem. I would say, let's not take that way that they are independent. Both are in tandem, ultimately to exhaust your prarabdha in a given life. Yeah. And of course, in a human life, you then again have new experiences and then new tendencies. It's beginningless, mind-boggling, honestly. It's just mind-boggling. How many karmas are there? Any janma, any jiva takes, as if he has already entered into that before and he starts functioning. Nobody gives any kind of a training. Like Puja Swami used to give an example of a monkey. Like monkey is born, it knows exactly that, how to save his life and etc. and where to suckle the mother's, to get the food, etc. Everything it knows. That shows that it already has a tendency. But in any body, any jiva enters, it knows. No confusion. Means everyone has entered into all the types of bodies and had a tendency, all the types of tendencies also from those experiences in a given body. It looks like. That's how jiva is anadi, beginningless. Karmas are anadi, beginningless. Tendencies are also anadi, beginningless. This is how it is. But the whole thing is mithya. Whole thing is mithya. Swamiji, that I cannot swallow. But this is how it is. That's how it is.
Thank you.
Swami, with moksha, what happens? The subtle body and
Yes,
karma.
nice question. So, 3 bodies are there, right? One who knows that I am distinct from 3 bodies, like the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. Well, after the fall of the gross body means gross elements. So, gross body merges into gross elements. Subtle body merges into subtle elements, right? Subtle elements are there. Pardon?
Doesn't leave the gross body, subtle body?
No, I'm saying he has not to go anywhere. Because if he says I am a jiva, then he thinks that I will get a next janma, I will have to travel, etc. I will have to travel. But he knows he is Brahman, all-pervading Brahman, and therefore there is no travel. Therefore, after the fall of the physical body, once the prarabdha is over, fall of the physical body means the physical body merges into its own elements, gross elements. The subtle body merges into subtle elements. And the causal body merges into the Maya, the cause of everything, into that. So all the karmas and vasanas, etc., of the person, which is a part of that storage, Karana Sharira, merge into the Karana Prapancha Maya. So this is how, all the 3 bodies merges into respective components. That's what it is. Because he has disidentified with all the 3 bodies. Yeah. So that is called Videhi Mukti. He will not have to take birth again. The karmas, his karmas become a part of the samashti karma. Right? His tendency become a part of this, the total tendencies from which the whole creation has come. So there is a samashti karma and there are vashti karmas. The whole creation comes from the jiva's samashti karma. And jiva's vashti karma give rise to the subtle body and gross body. Jiva's samashti karma gives rise to creation. All the jivas, total karma, give rise to creation. Because the same creation he has to experience. And while experiencing, it will generate a pleasure and pain. So if the creation is giving you pleasure and pain, definitely it must be from my karma. Therefore, to be born in India, there are certain punya karmas and there are certain papa karmas for all the people who are residing there. Please believe me. Any time when you experience a pleasure and pain while interacting with the world, it's karma only. Just karma, exhaustion of karma. That is how it is. So therefore, there are samashti karmas which give rise to creation, and there are vyashti karmas which give rise to the bodies. Ultimately, it is part of Maya, Karana Prapancha. Because the manifest creation is from the unmanifest. The unmanifest is called Maya, where all the jivas' karmas are there, all the jivas' tendencies are there, etc. So from that Maya, which is of course aggregate of all Karana Shariras also, and you cannot find a difference between a Vyashti Karana Sharira and Samashti Karana Sharira, Karana Prapancha, because it is unmanifest. In an unmanifest condition, you cannot find a difference between Vyashti and Samashti. Yeah. That is how, when you sleep, like you become unmanifest as though. So there is no difference like that you are an individual and this is Samashti, the total. In deep sleep, you cannot distinguish. In an unmanifest state, you cannot find a difference. Even if there is a difference between a Vyashti and Samashti, but you cannot find. So, that is how we always say, sometimes we say Karana Sharira, we say sometimes Maya also. Sometimes Maya is called Karana Sharira because of this. Yeah, because of this. Because in an unmanifest state, you cannot distinguish individual and total. Yeah.
I'm having big confusion when you talk about consciousness.
Huh.
So one is manifest consciousness, like we are conscious, right? And then you are talking about universal consciousness.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between those two?
That is not a difference actually. That universal consciousness or all-pervading consciousness manifests in a medium called mind, subtle body. When it manifests, that appears conscious. Like the sun, even though the sunlight pervades the entire earth, right? It is everywhere, let us say, for a time being, part of the earth. Once it pervades everywhere. But somewhere sun manifests, and other places sun doesn't manifest. Sun manifests as a sun in a certain medium, like a water, clean water, or even a mirror, etc. Or even a clean surface of a car. Right? You see the sun. And other places like this, even the light falls here, but it doesn't reflect that way. Yeah. So that is the difference. All pervading consciousness, somewhere the consciousness manifests. So that thing appears as a conscious, like the mind, the senses and everything. And such a subtle body, where it manifests, consciousness manifests, such subtle body enters into the gross body. The gross body also becomes sentient, conscious.
So it's a reflected consciousness.
It's a reflected consciousness.
Perhaps this is a...
One second.
Yes, thank you for the illuminating conversations and discussions this afternoon. I was reflecting back on some of my conversations with my late father, and he had a wonderful paper on Maya that I'd like to share with you. But I mean, I was left with one quote where he says, "Rumi, don't you know the sun you see with your physical eyes is the shadow of the real sun?" But that got me thinking about how we are sort of all interacting with each other at an interpersonal level, and that's manifesting perhaps a universal conversation. And it takes me back to thinking about how Hinduism sort of seems founded on discourse and discussion. It's through our interactions that we actually manifested something new, a creation, a new form. And I thought your quote, "The seeker and the sought are the same," was nice this afternoon. And that gets me thinking is the more that we interact now in social media and technology, it's more we try to aggravate each other so that I can get more of a discourse out of you, which seems a more negative approach than perhaps in past days where maybe it was more about trying to form something new. But you get a higher hit count if I can make you say something that you don't want to say, and you can make me get a higher hit count. So it seems like we're building on these tensions rather than in perhaps past where we're trying to create a new thought or a new chair, like you said. That table is only there because I manifested it. Someone thought about it, and we shared that reality. We put the atoms together. I think you might understand what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah. So you want some answer from me?
Yes. How do we try
Now,
to...
can anyone tell me in a brief what is his question? Actually, it's part of the thing I missed also because of sudden, he was speaking so fast. Oh. So, can you just tell your question in one line or two lines?
So, I guess we are the seeker and the sought are trying to share the same information.
Correct.
And now in the digital age, we're sharing more of an aggression to sort of understand the next phase of thought. And I didn't know if there's any way that you thought our generation should try to refocus that. Yeah.
Is it possible for us to meet personally tomorrow or
Sure.
you are leaving tomorrow?
Sure.
So after the lunch, because I want to understand actually more from you in a sitting. We'll meet here in a lobby and we'll definitely discuss. Pardon?
I'll bring the paper on Maya.
Yes, exactly. Please bring. Yeah. Anyone else?
Swamiji, today you spoke about Kenopanishad, and the question had come up yesterday about where thoughts arise from. And it seemed like the verse, just basically the question asked by the student was, where are these things arising from? So the answer that I got from that is like, it's all part of the awareness. If it's all part of the awareness, why is it that I have a different set of thoughts from the next person and the next person? Is it our vasanas and karma? What else plays into these thoughts? Why does this sequence of things come in your mind?
See, it is, first thing is, anything, any this non-self, mind and senses and everything is not part of the self. It is not part of the self. It is just a superimposed upon self. It's not part. If it is a part, every subtle body, every mind is a part of the Atma, the consciousness, then consciousness is an aggregate of all the minds. And then consciousness has parts, means if consciousness is parts, consciousness will fall apart. Anything which has parts put together will fall apart one day. Means consciousness is also will fall apart. Means it will die. And all these things are parts of consciousness. Well, means the consciousness also is bound by the time. Anything, all the parts put together, assembly, at a given time. Right? So, then definitely within time, they will fall apart also. So, what we are discussing, mind, etc., is not a part of the Atma, consciousness. They are all just appearances. That's how Mithyavada I explained also. They are just an appearance. Due to Maya, it is just an appearance of this consciousness. Consciousness appears as several subtle bodies, several gross bodies, and all these things in the creation, all the names and forms are appearances of one consciousness, not parts of consciousness. Could you follow? And therefore, all these minds, etc., since they are appearances, it cannot affect the consciousness as such. Could you follow? And that is why it is just it's consciousness, appearance of the consciousness due to Maya in form of all the names and forms, including mind and everything, all the subtle bodies and the gross bodies, etc. And in a subtle body, that consciousness, all-pervading consciousness, manifests. Before that, consciousness is associated with the causal body. That association also is not a real association. That association is of a Satya-Mithya relationship. So one is a reality, other is an appearance. It's exactly like the river, the water and the wave. So water appears in the form of a wave. That's how it is. One water, all-pervading water, vast water, appears in several waves. Like that. It's like that. So, the consciousness will not be affected by those appearances. Anything which is appearance cannot affect the reality. Therefore, am I making sense to you?
Yeah, one part of it is clear. What you're saying is clear, but my fundamental question is, where are the thoughts arising?
Thoughts are arising in the mind. It's a modification of the mind. But the whole mind is non-separate from consciousness. The mind, suppose if you are asking me how the mind arises, suppose.
Okay.
Well, mind arises from consciousness. How can Swamiji, the consciousness appears as a mind? Right? That would be the next question. Yeah. Well, due to Maya. That's a power the consciousness has, in which consciousness appears as a mind. It's an appearance of consciousness. So it's not real. So this is how the thing is. But Swamiji, why mind appears like this? We don't know. This is how the thing is. This is how the thing is. When you understand, when you try to understand the reality of everything, mind or any other thing, you find it is just consciousness. It is just consciousness, present everywhere. Other than that is name and form, which is non-separate from the consciousness. So a whole mind's existence is due to consciousness. And mind functions also due to consciousness, becoming conscious and function. But it is totally non-separate from the consciousness. This is how the thing is. This is how the thing is. That's all we have to say. Why Swamiji Karana Sharira? Suppose somebody can ask, mind arises from, Swamiji, you said it is subtle body, arising from causal body. How causal body has come? Suppose somebody asks me this question. Well, I say it is like this. It is like this. So there is, if I say causal body arises due to this reason, then, well, causal body has a beginning. Causal body arises, means it has a beginning. If causal body has a beginning, means the ignorance has a beginning, then what was there before that? Knowledge was there. If knowledge was there, how ignorance can come? No, Swamiji, it can come. If it can come, then definitely I acquire this knowledge, self-knowledge. Then I again become, it's a possibility that I again become self-ignorant. Because knowledge will go away. Again I will become ignorant. That would not be the case. Once you know, you know. It may not be there in your conscious mind. An unknown thing, well, enters into your mind in the form of a thought. And consciousness illumines it. And now the category of that object is changed from unknown to known. But it doesn't remain in your mind. But still, any time you see the object, you know it, that object. So unknown to known. Whole world, most of them is unknown. Partly it is known. How? Because part of that has entered into the mind in a form of a thought. And definitely it has been illumined by the consciousness present in the thought. And now you know it, that object. It will remain known. May not be there in your conscious mind all the time, because now new object enters. Then new object enters. But it remains as a known. Right? A known thing cannot become unknown. You may forget, that's a different issue. But you will say, I have recollected it. I was knowing, but I forgot. So therefore, ignorance of the causal body has no beginning. It has no beginning. And well, the consciousness associated with this causal body is the jiva. Well, due to his karma, it is beginningless. And therefore, karmas are there, tendencies are there. Part of it gives rise to a subtle body and gross body. And this is how the jiva from one life to other life travels. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask all those questions you asked on the stage, so thank you for anticipating my questions. No,
because
but
this generally, this question is asked how jiva is born and when it is born. And
so just when you mentioned causal body, am I correct in making the assumption that you're referring to Maya?
Yes,
okay,
you can say
that's
that.
All. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not something categorized as different from Maya, right?
Because Karana Sharira also unmanifest.
Yeah.
And Karana Prapancha, the Maya, the total also is unmanifest. From there only manifest.
It's not that there's some, it's not like there's Brahman, Jiva, that there's Maya, and then there's another sort of a version of Maya that is considered to be causal body. It's not like that.
See, the causal body is a part of the Maya. Maya is a total.
Okay.
Total unmanifest from which the whole world came. Jiva and Jagat both came from the Maya. But the Jiva has a causal body. Consciousness along with the causal body. But since it is unmanifest, it is part of the total unmanifest.
Right,
Could you follow?
Yeah,
That's what it is.
So is there a Sanskrit word for that causal body?
Causal body, Karana Sharira.
Karana Sharira. Oh, okay.
It's not actually a body as such.
Yeah.
But that is also Shiryamanatvat Shariram. Because it disintegrates in course of time. If you gain knowledge, etc., it disintegrates.
Yes,
Therefore, it is called Shariram.
That's why you said that all of these have beginningless, but you didn't say that don't have an end. They have an end in knowledge.
Absolutely. That is the difference between Brahman and
Yes.
Jiva, Brahman and Maya, you can say.
Thank you.
So Brahman also is beginningless and Maya also is beginningless. But one comes to an end, other is endless also. So beginningless, endless is Brahman. Beginningless but comes to an end, that is Maya or Jiva. Yeah.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
when a close family member has died recently, can one do anything to benefit their Atman or their...
Yeah, Jiva. Yes. So there are things which have been described in the Shastra which we have to do, that which will be helpful for the journey of this departed soul. Yeah. So if a person is interested, he can definitely contact our priest or any priest, what you want to. But one should consult, and as he says, one should do. Yes.
So could you explain this two terms, Chit Bhasa and Chit Bhasa?
Chit?
Chit Bhasa and Chit Bhasa. The two, right? Chit Bhasa and Chit Bhasa.
Chit?
Chit and Chit.
Chidabhasa means Chitabhasa. Ah.
And Chit, what is
Chit and Chitabhasa, two things. Chit means a consciousness, the original you can say, and the Chidabhasa is reflection. Yes. That Chidabhasa alone is this Jiva. Yeah.
Maya is beginningless also. Is on. Maya is beginningless, you said, but does it go through cycles of manifestation and unmanifestation?
That's what it is.
So that's the basic difference between Brahman and Maya.
Absolutely.
If Maya goes through cycles, although it's beginningless, it goes through cycles and it comes to an end.
Maya has a
Whereas-
basis. The Adhishthanam is Brahman.
and
Maya is Mithya, is non-separate from Brahman.
so
Maya is basically a power. You know, it's like a power, Shakti. So the Brahman along with the Maya means he is called creator. So when is the creative power, any power is a non-separate from the conscious being. Like right now, I have a certain power of speaking, right? So speaking power. But speaking power is not independent of me, the conscious being. So I, the conscious being, basically, I make it manifest, let us say. Speaking power was unmanifest in me. I came here and started talking. So my speaking power has manifested. So who has impelled it? I, the conscious being. So Brahman basically has this power, non-separate from the consciousness, Brahman, Maya, which is creative power or sustaining power or a dissolving power, is a non-separate from the Brahman. And along with that power, that Brahman is called Ishvara, creator. Along with the creative power, the same Brahman is called creator. Along with that same sustaining power, the Brahman is called, a sustainer, dissolver, etc. So the same Brahman as a Ishvara, as a creator, dissolver, and a sustainer, is due to that power, which is non-separate from the consciousness.
Yeah, true,
and that Maya basically, which when become manifest, we call Jagat. When Jagat becomes unmanifest, we call Maya. That's it. Brahman is the basis. You can understand now. Like right now, my speaking power is manifesting, right? Once I leave this, my speaking power becomes unmanifest. Could you follow? I, as a conscious being, will be there as a basis, will continue. Whether my speaking power manifest or remain unmanifest, I remain as a conscious being, as a basis. The power is non-separate from me, either in a manifestation state, either in an unmanifest state. So right now this Jagat is nothing but the manifest Maya, but the basis is still Brahman. And when the creation dissolves, still the Brahman will be there with the unmanifest, which we
then
call
it
Maya.
will take another cycle again.
Absolutely. Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavanti aharagame ratragame praliyante tatraiva avyakta sanyake avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. In 2nd chapter, in 8th chapter, Bhagavan said, Avyaktat Vyaktaya Sarvaha, from unmanifest to manifest. Unmanifest to manifest, creation. Manifest to unmanifest, dissolution.
So that will be the different cycles.
Cycle, that is called cycle. From creation to dissolution. From avyaktam to vyaktam, and when it dissolves, till that the whole thing is we call kalpa, creation. It's one cycle of creation, kalpa. Yes.
They have even given timings for the cycles, right? Yeah.
So,
Time bound.
yeah, definitely. They say certain number of years
Yeah.
already has gone and still some more years to go and like that. That is. But it's definite, and how many we don't know all these things. But it is definite, yeah. Thousand Chaturyugas of a one day and 1,000 Chaturyugas of a night and all this. So 43 lakhs 20,000 years is one Chaturyuga. Multiply 1,000. That's a one day of Brahmaji, the creator, etc.
I have a question which may be very rudimentary. In the Vedas, the 4 Vedas, the word Brahman appears in all the 4 Vedas? Or
Yeah.
the Brahman word? Ishvara, I know, like Isha Vasimidam Sarvam. But the Brahman word,
It is there.
it is there. Okay.
Yeah. Like in Rigveda, Prajnanam Brahma in Aitareya.
Okay.
Then in Atharva Veda, Ayam Atma Brahma, Mandukya. Of course, that appears even in Brihadaranyaka also. And in Shukla Veda, Aham Brahmasmi. Let's take that way. And in our Sama Veda, Tattvamasi, etc. But that you are. But before that, what is that has been discussed. Sadeva Sumidamagra Asit, Ekameva Dvitiyam, etc. So there the word instead of a Brahman, the Sat is there. And but the same. Brahman is the cause of the world, while there it is said Sat is the cause of the world. Means it is the same thing. And that Sat which is the cause of the world is you. That's what it says. Means you are Brahman. So that way, all the 4 Vedas talk about,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Definitely.
My understanding is that Brahman without attributes is the real ultimate reality. Is it Ishvara is the Brahman with attributes?
Brahman with attributes, Brahman with 3 gunas, that is Maya. That is Sagunam Brahma. That is called Ishvara.
So Ishvara definition is Brahman with attributes.
With attributes, with Maya, with a creative power, sustaining power. The Maya is 3 gunas only, right? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So Brahman associated with 3 gunas is Sagunam Brahma.
So that's Ishvara.
That's Ishvara. That's creator, sustainer, etc. Because endowed with the power. So Ishvara. Over. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om